Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Yarn Ambassador podcast. Thank you very much for joining me here, whether this is your first time or you have come back. It's great to see some of you again, and I'm really enjoying all the comments and input from you, so thank you very much for that. I couldn't understand why my views last week had kind of quite rocketed until somebody pointed out to me that I had spelt dying wrong in my title description. Apparently, the people who were looking for experiments with natural dying, end-of-life dying, were probably disappointed with my podcast, but hopefully that's rectified and I will employ a better spell checker for next time. Although, having said that, I've got some like bulletproof vest style knitting to share with you today. I've been busy this week with knitting, finding time in between the work. So last week when I recorded, I wasn't far off finishing my Ursa sweater, which is a bulky weight cropped jumper. And I was using some yarn that had been a bit of an experiment, but it hadn't turned out very nicely. It was quite ropey, and I'd knitted it up into another garment, and I just wasn't wearing it, and so I ripped that out and decided to give the Ursa sweater a go, which is a beautiful pattern. Absolutely nothing wrong with the pattern, it's all wrong with the yarn. So I've now got a finished garment, but here we go. This is the Ursa sweater. It's a lovely shape. The fit's actually not too bad either, but because of the yarn, it is incredibly sturdy. I feel like it could probably stand up under, pretty much is, on its own weight. So I have worn it a couple of times, but it is very, very thick. I mean, it is bulletproof vest. Nothing. It could be stab proof. I don't think anything is getting through this. Maybe this is what the medieval people used as armour. This type of yarn. So, not sure what to do with this one. I might give it a little bit of a go. I haven't blocked it yet, partly because it's so thick. I think it would probably take a week to dry. And we've not got like the warmest weather at the moment. It's currently, I don't see that, it's currently snowing quite heavily outside, so not sure. This is on the kind of probation period. It's a beautiful fit, but if I rip it out and use the yarn for something else, I don't mind too much about that. I've got a lot better at being able to rip things out and reuse the yarn. That's the lovely thing about knitting, is if you make something and you're not happy with it, you've not lost that yarn, it's still there. You can recycle it and do something different with it. And it was a really quick knit, so it's not like I've spent tons of time. So that's the Ursa sweater by Jacqueline Cieslak, and that was one of my 12 cast-ons to join Ange of Yarn and Yarns, and I cast off. So, hurrah. And, however, I've been thinking about the yarn that I've used for that, and here's a ball of it. You can see it's kind of quite thick and thin, it's not really made for garment stuff. What I think it probably is made for, well, it wasn't made for anything, but what it would be most suited for would be peg looming. And I was on Facebook, I think, the other day, and I saw there was an online class for peg weaving. And I've seen it before, and I've always been kind of interested in it, never really known how it worked. And so I signed myself up for a class, which is happening next Sunday on the 31st of January. I'll put the details in below. I think there might be some spaces, or there'll be more courses in January. I think it's been run by Welsh Wool, Wild Welsh Wool, or something like that. Sorry, I've totally forgotten. So I've signed myself up for a course next Sunday, an online course obviously, to learn how to weave on a peg loom. And I don't have a peg loom, and I kind of thought, oh well, you know, they look easy enough to make, basically like a plank. And I looked up some YouTube videos and realised I was never going to make myself a peg loom. So I went on Etsy and I bought one. This exciting thing, no idea how to use it at the moment. It looks a bit like a battleship game. Maybe you could double it up as a battleship game, but no idea what I'm doing with it. You've got these pegs. It seems obvious that there are smaller pegs for a smaller, tighter weave, and larger pegs for a larger weave. Who knows? So I will tell you more after that. So I've got myself a peg loom, but I thought that this yarn, this bulletproof yarn, probably would be ideal for weaving rugs, because I think you get rugs off them and things for the floor, or kind of cushions and things. So maybe I'll unravel the Ursa sweater and make something with it on my peg loom, because I've only got a little bit of it left, but we'll see after the class next week. So finished the Ursa sweater. The other thing that kind of took hold of me this week was knitting up little, I think the pattern is called Bluebirds of Happiness, but it's this wonderful, it's a free pattern, it's a beautiful little pattern, and you can make these little birdies. And to be honest, I don't think it matters what weight of yarn or needles you did. So this is some DK yarn I had lying around, and I used 4mm needles. But then I've been making these teeny tiny ones from fingering weight yarn. Aren't they cute? So my idea is that I'm going to package these up and send them. I was going to put them on a string and kind of make a garland, but I'm going to just send them as they are to my sisters and their kids, my nieces and nephews. So, I mean, they can put them on whatever if they have a artistic looking twig, or, you know, hang them wherever. But I'm going to need to make some more, obviously. So I dug out some bits of my hand spun that I've got left over, and it's a really nice pattern to use up those smaller bits of hand spun. I think it only requires 10 grams or so many yards or something, but it's a really easy pattern, and I've been really enjoying. It's been quite therapeutic making these little birds of happiness. And they're cute. So I wanted to make some more with my hand spun, and I had some fleece that was in my fleece bag that I had natural dyed last year. So this is so I've spun that up. So this is very rough spun. This is fibre that was dyed with nettles. I think that was the first nettle experiment I did. And this purple one is one I did with kind of hedgerow jelly leftovers. Made some hedgerow jelly and then took the sludge that was left over, because you strain jelly obviously, and so that's a kind of mauvey purple, and I thought they were quite nice Easter colours. So I'm going to make some more little birds of happiness, and yeah, it's been really good fun. I don't really go in for making little stuffies or whatever you call them, but they're kind of really cute. And we've got loads of birds in our garden at the moment, so I'm having a bit of a bird thing at the moment. The other thing I've been working on this week is I finally cast on the hand-spun yarn that I had a fleece that I was given at the beginning of lockdown last year. It was my first spinning project. Spun it all the way through into yarn, and then dyed it with some oak galls and an iron mordant, and got this kind of deep grey, browny grey. And I've cast that on. It's ultimately, I've decided, I've had this kind of pattern idea in my head for a while now, and So I have been doing all the numbers, so here are my scribbles. Don't need to see all of them, but so I've kind of written out that pattern and I'm now working my way through it. I'm halfway through a row, which is annoying because you can't see, but I've got a moss stitch border. Moss stitch borders are my favourite, and it's going to be a kind of wrap around cardie, and I'm already at the stage where I'm beginning to get, I've only done, a couple of inches, and I'm beginning to be a bit anxious that I won't have enough yarn for this project. There's no more where that came from, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and if I have to rip it out or make some alterations, so be it. I'm not too bothered about that. So that's quite nice. It just looks like a hot mess there. It's quite nice, therapeutic in front of the telly knitting. I am alternating skeins because, as you can see there, and you can just see it, the dye job I did, I'm not used to dyeing such big quantities of yarn. It wasn't very even, and so I'm alternating skeins so that I don't get big pooling or sudden colour changes when I change a skein. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes about, and I've been working on some Charlie Button yarns. I've been washing and skeining up some of the British breed yarns, and I'm trying to get ready for the Knit Tea Retreat, which is happening in February. I'm going to be taking part in the virtual marketplace, and to take part in the virtual marketplace, you get to do an Instagram live, and you also submit something for a raffle. So I've been pulling together the prize for the raffle, which I think is going to be this. So this is a 50-gram nugget of Jacob, cream Jacob. And you can see it's kind of a little bit flecked. Jacobs are piebald, so they're black and white and brown. So the white is always just a little bit tinged with flecks of colour, which I really like. So it'll be a 50-gram nugget of Jacob cream with a couple of contrast minis. So you've got Manx Lochten here, and this is Jacob, a mix of the white and the dark to make that beautiful grey. So that's 4-ply, so I think that would be a really nice project. I don't know, some colourwork mittens or colourwork hat maybe, or a cowl. So that's what's going to be going into the Knit Tea Retreat raffle, which is exciting. And you can still find all of the Charlie Button yarns at Yarn and Yarns. For those of you who don't know, I set up Charlie Button Yarns, which is local to me, British breed yarns. I take the fleeces from local farmers who would otherwise just throw it away or burn it, and transform them into beautiful yarns that showcase some of the best of our British breeds. And you can, if you're interested in that, you can get a British breed box from Ange at Yarn and Yarns. So I think that kind of wraps it up for today. Thank you very much for joining and sticking it out. If you are keen to see more, please click on subscribe, like the video, and hopefully I'll get to see you next week. Thank you for joining. Take care. Bye bye.